the board members have the oaths with them, and I'm going to ask them to, again, say it all together. So I will start with I.
I, Mary Ellen Lindsay, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. Now we go to the next one.
Then we go to the next one.
I, Mary Ellen Lindsay, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19:4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A:12-11, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, as Board Secretary, I will call the meeting of the Denville Board of Education to order at 7:31. This meeting of the Denville Township Board of Education is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting is provided to the Daily Record and for the Star Ledger of Morris County, and has been delivered to the Township Clerk and has been posted on the bulletin board of the Board of Education office and at each of the school buildings in the district. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Okay, we will do our official roll call. Mr. Anderson. Here. Mr. Capello. Here. Mrs. Lindsay.
Here.
Mr. Cass. Here. Mr. Napoloni. Here. Mrs. DeLuna.
Here.
And Mr. Duarte. Here. Okay. I will read it in the, for the record. Item D, the votes for the candidates: Mary Ann Lindsay, 2,207; Dino Capello, 2,114; Michael Anderson, 2,265; Seth Johnson, 1,487. The next order of business will be the nominations for president. There does not have to be a seconder, or there just have to be a motion for a nomination for president. And then what we'll do is, after the nominations, we'll close the nominations, and then the board will vote for the president. So, having said that, I now will open the nominations for president of the board.
I would like to nominate Mary Ann Lindsay for second term as president of the board.
I'd like to nominate Dave Denville.
Okay, are there any other nominations? Okay, so what we'll do is, in the order that you see on the agenda, I will call your name, and then you will vote for a person, either Mrs. Lindsay or Mr. Napoloni, for president.
Is there discussion or just vote?
Sure, you can lead the discussion.
Not sure how. Just do. board, I have a lot of faith in every member sitting here, and I think it's a good, positive feeling to know that there's multiple people interested in leadership positions here. Having supported Mariana last year, I think this year I'd like to put my vote behind Dave, because we're just looking to rotate somewhat. This is, I think, my 6th year. I feel Mariana has been in a leadership position for my entire term on the board, and I'd just like to see some fresh ideas. But I just think you all do a great job. You keep us all organized. She's like a place working person. Just different. I think it's a good idea, like volleyball. I think the council's that way. We kind of rotate people. I'm kind of supportive of the new president.
Any other comments by board members?
Yeah, I just want to add, I appreciate Mark saying that across the nomination. I think it's really important to have rotation. I know I talked about this last year, it has nothing to do with, current, former, past presidents. It has more to do with the concept that the board is always the board. It's always one step. The president, the vice president isn't any more or less than one vote. And I think the idea of rotating, I think the idea of getting to an environment where it's a yearly position, I think that's exactly the way it should be. I think it should be you're in for 1 year and rotate the next year. I think something I've talked to a lot of you about is that I think that everyone at this table is absolutely qualified, whether it is your first meeting or is your 8th year, 9th year meeting. I think at the end of the day, we're here to support our constituents, do the best for the kids in this town, and make sure that we have the highest level of education. And I think everyone of us can do that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. So I nominate the sitting president.
Sure.
I'll chip in. I've been on the board a long time now, and I've observed, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 presidents, I believe. Okay, and they make a good point. Everybody on the board's important, but I think having some longevity on the board, some experience, especially in the executive position, is important. The president is involved with a lot of behind-the-scenes things that require a certain amount of time, and I think, Marianne has 1 year experience. I would have nominated her, but I think she can do the job for another year, but do the job well. I think if we're looking to change the position, maybe a bylaw change where every 2 years you rotate, like the town council does that. You have a different president every 2 years. Town council president every 2 years you change.
It's a 1-year term.
Okay, it's a 1 year term.
But traditionally, you do 2 1 years, but that's not always the case.
Okay. So you can do it that way, but I think the experience is important, the longevity is important, and being able to make the time commitment and having a good track record in a variety of capacities as Mariana has had. I think that's important. So I think she's deserving of another term. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, I will call the board member's name, and then the board member will say who they will vote for president. Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Napolone.
Mr. Capello.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Mrs. Lindsay.
It's a tough one. Mrs. Lindsay.
Mr. Cass.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Mr. Napoloni.
Mr. Napoloni.
Ms. DeLuna.
Mr. Napoloni?
And Mr. Duarte.
Mr. Napolone.
Mr. Napoloni has 4 votes. He is the president of the Board of Education.
Congratulations.
What I will do now is the president will now run the meeting. He will follow the agenda. The next item up is the nominations for vice president. Official here now. Here.
Okay with that? So we will now take nominations for the seat of Vice President.
I nominate Mrs. Galuna.
I'd like to nominate Mariana Lindsay.
I think in the spirit of we want to see people rotate around and get fresh eyes and new views, I think it's time to pass the leadership.
I understand the spirit of it. I'm in favor of it. I'd like to see some sort of continuity. Dave is new to the position. If there's insights that you have, I'd like to see some teamwork and, help him carry things forward as he moves on. Especially from a procedural standpoint. Even though we're all here, but to have you sit in with it, I think would help.
Any other nominations? Then roll call. Do you Ms. Lindsay? You will accept, right?
I will accept. I don't know if I understand Julie or not.
Or Ms. Luna. So when John asks her or say your name, you will go for whoever's Vice President.
Mr. Anderson.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Mr. Capello.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Mrs. Galuna.
Mr. Cass. Mr. Navaloni.
Ms. DeLuna.
Mrs. DeLuna.
Okay, Mrs. Galuna.
And Mr. Duarte.
Mrs. Lindsay.
Mrs. DeLuna is now been elected Vice President of the Board. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's the President's comment, so I have anything prepared. One thing I do want to say, though, is I think in the spirit of what we've focused on for the last 6 years of my time on the board, is absolutely transparency, is communication. I know it's some of our goals this year, and input from the public, obviously. So at any point you have concerns, comments, questions, I know everyone's accessible. Mr. Fortes was great in terms of getting back with information, and I think I'll continue. And I know we'll have a great year. Yeah, I think what we've done in the past few years in terms of committees is, if you would, please email me your top 3 choices in terms of committees. I will tell you, I do want to speak for a few minutes about committees and where we're at with it. I think one of the greatest weaknesses, as far as I'm concerned, for the board, in many times, is that there isn't a lot of cross-pollination or experience on multiple levels in terms of committees, so that, I've been our personnel or curriculum side, we haven't had the experience on the finance side or the buildings operations. And I think the one thing I'd like to be able to discuss, and maybe open up for debate across the table, is maybe the structure first, how we have that. We have traditionally done committee meetings with the majority of the board. I don't know if we want to move in the direction of having a committee of one or one board.
You have to work and change the bylaws.
And that may be something that we want to do. The other question mark is, do we work into an environment where we are rotating committees over a fairly regular basis so that not one person's busy? And I'd like to get a lot of input on that. Thoughts?
Dave, real quick, just being new to the board, I think it would be very beneficial to me to kind of have, kind of insight on a couple different areas. I thought about that a lot, and I think that makes the most sense. Obviously, you don't want to be rotating quickly where you don't get enough time to actually understand that particular specific area, but I do support kind of rotating through the committees in some sort of fashion that makes sense in timeline, so I support that.
Barb?
Well, some of them, it lends itself to it better than others, like negotiations, you have to like with the budget cycle, I don't think you should be, you have to look at the timing of it. But I think when we were talking about with having things, maybe making sure that subcommittee minutes are drafted and read and shared at the work session, that would be beneficial to everybody, where we could just kind of go over and ask questions. We're not always 100% on those minutes, so that would help. You know, I think the idea of the subcommittee structure is to keep us from having to come out every night and meet. And I don't know, having served on a few different ones, I'm a number cruncher, I kind of like the number stuff, but, you know, I don't know, the rotation could be good, but I think we could also cross-pollinate just by having more open forums on different things that came up with the subcommittee.
Tina?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Mark's saying. Definitely communication from the committee minutes, I think, will go a long way. I would like to see rotation. I mean, what I consider kind of cross-training would be good up to a point. I don't think, and to Mike's point, I think it's a valid one. We don't want to be spinning so often that none of us are comfortable with a particular subject matter. So as long as we keep that in mind, that'll be okay.
I think you need to have at least one person as a continuity point to make sure things don't fall in the cracks. And other than that, maybe people rotating around it. You know, possibly keeping like a chair as a solid point, and then have the other people come in and out. And yeah, I would agree with what Mrs. Delora said. You need to make sure, you know, you don't switch a committee halfway through putting together the, you know, the budget, for instance. But yeah, I would have no problem with people rotating in and out, you know, getting comfortable with all areas.
Carlos?
I agree with what we've spoken about this, you know, in terms of having a rotation. I like Mariana's suggestion, the chair stays steady, so there's continuity, as people come in and out, chief with people, you know, other things, nuances. You know, the finance committee, I don't know how that, like, if you have any interest in it, or Dave, you're in the finance stuff, you know, you have to be excluded when you're, you know, when your wife's a teacher, and part of it, when you start discussing the finances around the contract. You know, so just some things to consider.
Yeah, I guess John, maybe you might know the answer to that sort of thing. Would having a spouse who's part of the union in another district preclude you from being part of the finance committee?
I don't believe it would be, the finance committee would be excluded. You would have to be excluded regarding any discussion that took place in the finance committee regarding the contract itself. Negotiations.
Well, I mean, there's some things to work through, but I think.
Yes,
It's just something to watch out for, that's all. Because then you're only going to get part of it.
Steve, do you have any input on this?
I do. I don't think my thing's working here, is it? No. Yeah, it is. So, I think that rather than abandon the structure the way we have it now, if we tried this whole idea that we have the set committees prior to work sessions, but actually have a dialogue and discussion about the items on the agenda. So, for example, and I have some comments later, but I think we need to discuss every meeting a solution for the board office, a solution for these trailers we have, some other things. And I think the way it should go, rather than just being me bringing it up, is that it comes from the committee. Because my recommendation, again, this is coming up later again, but my recommendation is there's a few items that need to be on every agenda until we come up with a sound solution. So I would like to see you try that, because I have a feeling that although it might not be perfect, I think you'll feel a lot better about what's going on in the committees if you actually have a dialogue about all the items on the agenda. I think that that'll help you. I really do think that that'll make a big difference rather than just getting an email and 7 minutes from a board meeting, from a committee meeting. If we try that, even if we try that for a half year, try that until July 1st, and everybody sits around and says, you know what, I don't like it. Then maybe we look at, you know, going to the committee of a whole, and we have to change the bylaws. So there's a little bit of time in there anyway.
No, I think right over the inside.
No, it's okay. Say the best for last, right? I have a little bit of a contrary viewpoint. First of all, I don't think the existing committee structure has been a weakness of the board. I think it's been a strength of the board. We've gotten a lot done in committees. In terms of having the committees discussion, a brief discussion key points at a regular meeting, that's fine. But to have the committees, meetings done by the full board, I mean, a lot of times we're here to, 10, 11 o'clock some nights, past 11 some nights, so you start with a committee discussion, and for all the committees that we have, it's, this is not enough time for that. People are going to get tired and tuned out. So I think the existing committee structure is good. Steve brings up a good point about discussing some of the urgent items, the significant items at our meeting. That's certainly a good idea. And certainly you're going to have some new membership here on the committee, so you already have some fresh blood, so to speak. But again, I've been around for a long time. When I first got started, I didn't know too much about how things operate around here. But committee continuity is really important. You just can't turn a committee completely upside down. You've got to have at least one, two people that have been on those committees, because a lot of these things transcend from year to year. Some of these building and grounds projects we've talked about for a couple of years before they come to fruition. So I think the experience is really important. And I guess I'm the only surviving member of the operations committee that does finance and building and grounds and transportation. We lost two real heavy hitters that had been part of those committees for a long, long time. And the finances gets a little complicated sometimes. It's really important, as well as the other committees. So I think the experience is really important. So I really think that through before we just, change everybody's positions on the committees.
So, Don, to your point, though, where we've lost two people, two key members, right? Now you're left with a hole. If we keep rotating, everybody has that experience, that's less likely. And that's one of the reasons why I like that idea of rotating through.
Yeah. Well, you don't get enough experience in 1 year. Okay? It takes a while. My viewpoint. I'm done.
Just in case I wasn't clear, I'm not for moving to a board of the whole, even though I've been the one that's been most upset with our committee structure this past year due to the lack of communication and minutes that went on. I don't want to see us move to a board of the whole. And to Don's point, and why I said, I could see having other positions rotating around it, since many people seem to want to do that. But I asked for the continuity point. 10 years, I've been, the 10 past years, I was the chair of curriculum. And I've gone through a lot of other seatmates with me. And the first year, it's a lot of extra time. So if you're rotating, I guess eventually, and we're talking, as Don said, it's more than a year to come up to speed. Eventually, a year from now, if everybody rotated, I'm not sure anybody would be up to speed, except for the people that are currently on it. So it'll take several years to get everybody up to speed on everything. So I don't have a problem as long as we keep some continuity, but just to be clear, I'm not for moving to a board of the whole, it's just better communication. And I really like what Mr. Forte said about, ways to get us having the dialogue more.
I just have one more thing. On the, we got a draft here. We're not going to be having committee meetings this week, are we?
All right, we passed this out just as a draft to discuss, but there's no committees.
Right.
So there'll be no committee
We
meetings.
have a couple people left.
Just want to be prepared, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case. Any other comments? Anything there?
I have a question about the liaisons. Are you also not going to do that tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait on those. And if you all can just kind of go through the list.
We have at least 2 PTA meetings that will happen before our next meeting. Both, I believe Valley View is tomorrow night and Lakeview is Thursday night.
I know you're part, would you want to stay on those?
Not necessarily. I'm happy to give up some of my liaisonships. I'm happy to stay on Lakeview. I still chair a committee there, so I have the need to go anyhow. And I'm happy to serve wherever the president puts me, but just so people are aware.
So let's, Lakeview, go ahead. Maybe we'll just go through the PTA liaisons just this week, or just today. And we can worry about these other ones as we go through the email. Marianne, if you want to stay as Lakeview, is anyone else, unless anyone else wants a shot at that? No? No one else? Right? There's also Riverview, which I've been a part of, continue to stay part of, if that's okay. And Valley View is open. I know Marianne, you cover that now. Would anyone else want to volunteer for that spot? Unless Marianne wants to keep it. He knows your chief has money.
I would.
There was one that we inadvertently left off, the president would like to continue. I hope, just put a big pressure on it. The security committee, it's an ad hoc committee of the board. We have 2 or 3 members that, and we also have approximately 12 to 15 other people on this committee. We meet about 3 times a year and report back to the board on our findings.
When's our next meeting for that?
February 17th.
Is it truly 17th?
February 17th.
So I want to definitely keep that meeting going, and it's an ad hoc.
Tuesday night, or not before the next one?
No, it's definitely,
Okay.
That's the
I
17th.
can't even ask you
I think the 13th is Saturday, right?
13th.
that. It's a Tuesday, February 17th.
So I definitely want to keep that going. We do have a little bit of time in regards to that. And we've had a few people on it, and that's certainly something I think that everyone should be exposed of, whether or not that's your first day or not. And something we should be talking about probably in executive session afterwards, so we can bring everyone to speed. But if you all can shoot me an email about that as well. The security committee is something that you're interested in as well.
Unless I'm missing it, I also don't think we have, do we have MHRD on here? No.
Is it board?
The board?
Yeah, board to
You
board.
might want, I'm just bringing these 2 out because they're important, and we want to make sure that you guys know about it. Board is our board, and the boards of Morrisville Regional School District, all boards meet together. So if you don't mind including them and letting Dave know, because we probably would like to have these finalized by the end of this month.
At the next meeting, I think we should have it. As far as, so if you all could shoot me an email with maybe these subcommittees, called subcommittees, and definitely our formal committees as well. We don't really actually have a bylaws or policy.
No, it's been rolled in, I believe, in the bylaws into each of the committees. And that was the other thing I thought I had heard from people was about actually, the district technology committee shouldn't be on this list.
Mary, let
Oh,
me,
yeah, it should be
let me
actually.
interrupt you for 1 second. Thank you for lending us your husbands for the next year.
Years,
Years.
years.
Years. Good night. All right, sorry.
I'm sorry, I actually don't see it on here. There is no technology committee on this list.
It's on the next page.
It's on the podcast.
Oh, I was just looking at this. No, this flyer I was looking at. I'm sorry, is it on here? Yeah, you're right, it is on the second page, the technology committee. The one on here is the district technology committee, which I don't know if it's still on there.
So, that technology actually raises a really good point.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, Carlos actually brought up to me as well. I'm sure maybe the same conversation. Do you want to talk about that?
Also, my thought was to disband the technology committee as it stands today and split it into 2 categories. One, which would be the infrastructure side, right? So anything from the network port in the classroom on backup, to the servers would be part of the buildings and grounds committee, right? Kind of like operations, I think is what we call it now. And everything from the desktop forward, the applications, the desktop itself would go in the instruction curriculum. Right, so instead, those are the things that support the curriculum. Right, so it would make sense to fold it under that.
I think that's a solid idea. I would just like to give you an alternate point of view, is that currently we have some technological problems and could force the Buildings and Grounds Committee meetings to be extended by a substantial amount of time until maybe we get it under control. But I'm not saying it's the wrong thing. I just want you to think about that before you make your decision. It might be okay. It's just be prepared for those meetings to be a little bit extended, at least for the next 6 months until we get all this technology stuff.
Well, then so you're talking about the infrastructure is going to be a little bit more.
It's going to need more attention.
On a side note, I know we have Ms. Costanza on site, right?
Yes.
Who's our new technology
Manager.
manager. So is today your first day?
Her Thursday was Friday.
Congratulations, Nancy.
Thank you.
Welcome to the district.
Thank you.
So that's something to think about as well. I think it's I actually like the idea a lot, given the question marks in regards to extending the meetings for buildings and grounds is one issue, right? But there is, I think, a really valid point to incorporating what would be sort of the software part into those committees that will utilize those areas. And then the infrastructure, I think, just naturally would fall into the ability to identify the applications anyway. So I think it's something.
You know what's really happens though, is that the educational technology piece really, we don't spend a lot of time on that. What you say, Carlos? We more speak about hardware, network, and things. Right. So really, we already cover the technological side of the curriculum in the curriculum. So it's really just a matter of, it's almost like a splinter of the finance for this particular time. Just because we have to get over some humps, because I know you were told things about technology and I know, especially the people on the committee know what I'm talking about, that there were certain things that were promised that were done, and it was supposed to be ready to go, but in practice, we're not ready to go. So we're coming up with some solutions. And it's probably not going to be, I mean, what do we spend on, 30 minutes on technology? Maybe it'll be 20 minutes longer in finance. The only thing I'm bringing up is that finance is already at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, so it could end up being a 2-hour.
Would it fall into
finance
operations?
meeting. It does. It's all operations.
I mean, it's separate for finance, it falls into operations.
Right. Well, we meet together, finance and operations. We deal with transportation. Finance operations, like BOE operations. All that's mixed together. So I think it's okay. I just want to make sure you guys know that that's a possibility. They will be extended. I think one of your Don's points was sometimes when you get to these 2 hours, it starts to be, it's not as productive as it should be.
If it helps move things forward, keep it the same way. I will give it that.
If you don't, look, I'm gonna make a recommendation to you. I would recommend that we keep it for the next 3 months. And then we disband it into finance. Just give us a little bit of time with Cindy starting. She's compiling all this information. I want to share it with you, but I don't want to make it that it's secondary. Like when we go to a finance meeting and I bring it up 2 hours into the meeting. I don't want it to be that. It's too important for it to be that. As a matter of fact, it's on one of my points of our big challenges for the year. So if I can make a recommendation, I will keep it for the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. I think that, you guys have any comments down here?
I guess, Carlos, what's the problem you're trying to solve, I guess, by splitting it up? What's the perceived issue?
Well, just to let them know, because right now, the meeting's Friday, and I'm going to make it. I have things that are coming up with work. I'm not going to be able to make that meeting. I guess you could always change it. I just, when I look at things from an organization perspective, I try to break things up into where they really belong and where they should be discussed. Right? And some of those, to me, the things that we have, the rooms and the ceilings and the walls and the access points, that's all part of operation. That's buildings. That's the infrastructure side. And you can spend time with the curriculum committee when you're discussing the things that are appropriate. That's going to help drive technology use by students through the curriculum meeting, and as opposed to discussing in 2 different places.
I might have a secondary solution. Maybe, because you're right, that's important, because if the people are different on the committee, that's a problem. So maybe what we want to do is, just for the next 4 months or so, have a follow-up finance committee meeting on a conference call at a mutually convenient time for everybody to just deal with this, but with that same committee. Because I think that can become a problem. If you have different people on the finance committee and the technology, I think finance and operations. Because these are really operations issues we're talking about. So that might be a solution, and it's just a temporary thing. It doesn't really need to be official. It's just going to be a second committee meeting of the finance committee if we don't get to it, and everybody's burned out by the time we get to the support stuff. I want to give it the attention that it needs.
Let's keep the technology committee and just put a focus on it. I'm okay with that too. We can do that temporarily. We can stand later. I don't know if we have to wait for the next meeting to do that.
Well, right now it's an official, it's an ad hoc, unofficial.
No, I was going to say, I believe, and the president may want to ask for the next agenda to have it aligned to what our bylaws are. We actually changed our bylaws, I believe, beginning of last year. After many years of saying we were going to look at our bylaws and change them, we actually changed them in the last 2 years. And I don't believe this is the committee structure that's listed here is what the bylaws state. I can't pull a Wi-Fi signal here to pull it up, but I don't think we have transportation committee. It got rolled in. I'm pretty sure, as someone said earlier, we don't have bylaws and policy committee. That's unique. And we do have, technology was ad hoc for a year or 2 years, and then when we changed the bylaws, we made it permanent. The same way security right now is ad hoc. And just to throw it out there, at the board's discretion, I know when in my time on the board, we've made radical changes to our bylaws, and we tested them. We tested the committee structure before we actually changed the bylaws. So if you want to assign us in a test pattern, and we see if we like it before we change the bylaws, I think that's at your discretion in the board agreement.
Yeah, I think mine, bringing this up, I'm glad we're spending a ton of time on this, is, the idea of, number one, becoming the most efficient, right? For many years, we had multiple days, multiple meetings, multiple groups, people meeting to have these committee meetings. And I think second, from a content perspective, being able to roll a lot of information into the same sort of category, I think is important as well. And I think the third part, which is what I first talked about, was the idea of being as informed as possible, meaning that as a board member, having as much information as possible to make as an informed vote as possible, I think is the most important thing. I think that having that experience in those other areas is absolutely one of those things that we do that. And by the way, I want to go back just for a quick second. I think John brought up a good point in terms of keeping continuity, right? He said the same thing. I think those are important things. I agree. I don't think that's something that needs to change necessarily. But I think having folks be able to move through, to be able to understand what's going on, especially for the newer guys, I think is really important. I think there's a lot of information that is built up in all of our heads over these years that we can share as they come through, and for us to go into those committees as well. I think it's a good thing to do. But so as far as technology, I guess for the time being, maybe what we'll do is keep it for the next few months. I think Steve will take your first idea to keep it for the first 3 or 4 months so that we can sort of get organized. And then I think move into a pattern of being efficient and doing the right thing as opposed to the easy thing.
So in our bylaw, we do have a technology committee, so we would.
And some of the names are different.
Maybe we make that. Maybe we make. I'll have this changed.
Yeah.
Maybe we make some of them. Maybe we can use the wording if needed. Instead
Yeah, I was
of
going to
required.
say, right, I mean, you could have the committee, and then if it doesn't need to meet,
That's right. You have a committee. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to meet.
No, it's not.
So you still have a committee. Okay.
So I guess the bottom line to move this a little bit further is for some of these other areas that we haven't spoken about more specifically, meaning like the PTA liaisons, if you could just shoot me an email about the committees that you're most interested in, maybe list 2 or 3 that you'd be most interested in the spirit of what we're trying to talk about, so that we can get this set up. Hopefully by the next meeting we'll vote on the committees or the number.
there's no voting, you just get to open
I
them.
get the point.
Yep,
With an iron fist.
exactly.
I just got to flip back to the technology committee. The infrastructure ultimately supports the technology in the classrooms, right? The infrastructure for technology, right?
Yep.
That ultimately supports what goes on in the classroom.
That's correct.
Yeah, right. I know. We'll see what happens. I would leave where it is because I know from being on the finance committee, ultimately any upgrades to the telephones and wiring and all that is actually come to the finance committee for discussion once it's been recommended by the technology committee. So I mean, I see those two things as interrelated. So I think it should stay together.
Yeah, I think that's what Carlos was talking about. Those types of things that deal with the infrastructure, the lines, the access points in terms of the wireless systems, the servers and hubs and things like that we get pretty good at. Those types of folks are things that absolutely fall within probably the operations and finance group area. And those things that we deal with software, the RAS kids and things like that fall to the curriculum side of things.
I know, but the infrastructure supports that. So if you need more infrastructure, that would come out of the technology committee. Right.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Same thing.
And I was saying, I would rather see the infrastructure and the software come out of the technology committee since they go hand in hand and make recommendations to the board, the finance committee, rather than having them piecemeal. I mean, I'm gonna sit there,
I was just
and,
going to say that.
Dino's a technology expert, I'm not. So, but I mean, what would I know in terms of any infrastructure upgrades or inadequate maintenance, new features that we need for the infrastructure without that coming from what your needs are in the classroom. I'm certainly not going to make a recommendation to spend money on infrastructure upgrade unless there's a need for it. So it's got to come out of the, the classroom requirements ultimately, as well as the administrative. So I would see them, being together with technology, maybe make a recommendation to the finance committee and to the board, and give you the money that you need for doing that.
Now, just so you're, things a little bit clear, there might be needs for infrastructure changes that have nothing to do with the classroom. As technology changes, as advancements come out, you're going to constantly be upgrading your infrastructure, whether it's to support a specific application or a new desktop or vice versa. The two don't have to happen at the same time.
Correct.
I would say the one advantage of keeping it, like the depth and the technology, the invitees are all technology. Like you go in with technology in mind, whereas on B&G, those people aren't usually at those meetings, so I don't know if you can split it up somehow.
Listen, I'll definitely do that.
Well, until I think
Yeah,
there's
I mean, I
something,
like it.
knowing the things that
It's
have to
fun.
get done with this budget cycle, think of it as ad hoc, but maybe it can lessen over time, but right now, there's,
But I think, like I said before, to Steve's first point, I guess, keeping it for the next 3 or 4 months to kind of get us over the hump of where you're at in terms of the issues with the technology right now. But yet secondly, I think as we finish up the budget, once we get past that, we can reevaluate it again and see if it needs to be incorporated back into the relatable committees that are currently out there. So if you guys could shoot me an email maybe by the end of this week with, I guess, the top 2, 3 choices in terms of committees. Please pay attention to the second page. There's some other sort of subcommittees and town-related issues or town-related committees that we've always had representation for, which would be great to continue on. So you can shoot me an email about those areas that you'd be interested in as well. That would be great.
The only other thing is, I'm not sure what the legislative representative on the list is. So I don't,
That's school boards?
well, is it delegates assembly, you think, is what you're going to be assigning?
That's what I thought.
Okay. Which is what's on this other list that they gave as an attachment. The only reason I say that is I am the legislative representative for the 25th legislative district, but that is not a board appointed thing. That's a New Jersey School Board's appointed thing. So that doesn't change. I wasn't really sure what that was referring to.
I would assume that it's the delegate representative of the school boards. Not school board. Any other comments about this area? So appointments, Carlos, you want to move us through some of these appointments?
Okay, E, appointment, I'd like to move items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.
I'll second.
Okay, so, and you're going to fill in?
There's a lot here, so maybe John, I know some of these relate to some of the things that you're aware of. Maybe you want to start going through these with us?
Sure. Item number 1 is the annual appointment of the auditor. These are appointments that are made on an annual basis at the reorganization meeting as a matter of procedure. 2 is the appointment of our insurance broker. 3 is the appointment of the attorney for the board. 4 is the architect for the board. 5 is the benefits insurance agent broker. 6 is a matter of procedure and policy regarding all the bylaws and the code of ethics, which we'll discuss also at the end of the next, well, actually, in the good of the order, I believe. That's required, and that's item E I'm referring to. That's required to be discussed and signed off that each board member has received it. The other appointments that are listed under number 6, there are again annual appointments that are required. It also refers to the banking issues regarding the statute, which refers to the local bid thresholds and myself being appointed as the qualified purchasing agent for the board. Number 9 is Mr. Forte and myself and the treasurer who will be appointing to be authorized along with the board president on certain accounts, be authorized to sign and signatures for the banking issues. Number 10 is the public meeting calendar, which was changed slightly this year. And you'll have to pay particular attention to the dates because the second and the fourth Mondays weren't always feasible in certain situations.
Hey, John, I'm sorry for a second.
Sure.
So we're actually not voting on any of this stuff this week. This will be for our next meeting. We'll be voting.
No,
No, you'll be voting on it right now.
We are. This, right, good.
Unless there's an item that you want to pull.
Well, not, well, definitely want to discuss the board meeting part of it first.
Okay, we can.
You know, we're just discussing the other parts. The other part, I think, especially to make aware to the new members, are that, you know, a lot of these firms, the architect, the auditor, our attorneys, have been vetted by this board over the course of 1 year in the case of the architect, or multiple years in the case of the attorney and the auditor. But, you know, it's something that we should, public members will reevaluate on a regular basis.
That's correct.
And that's something that, I don't know if you guys have questions about that or lots of those areas as well, because you guys are aware.
There's one thing about the attorney, I have been working with him on his fee structure, and that will come through finance starting the first finance meeting. So that's one thing that's going to change.
You know, like, you guys have-
You answered my question, it's just that all of these firms we've worked with before, none of these are new appointments.
So the architect is the newest, who I think was just appointed last year. Otherwise, the others have been, the auditors have been for years now. Our attorney, we had a little gap, but we had him in the previous years and he just brought back. Yeah,
The
so.
auditor's been here 10+ years.
I think longer than that.
Well, I can only speak for the 10 years I've been here, he's been here all along. And as a point of information, let's say 6 months from now, we decide we want a different ceiling firm, because I don't want to name anybody on the thing. We can go out for a proposal, was it a request for proposal already? At any time, even though we appoint them right now, correct?
Yeah, you
Just as a point of information for you. So let's say 6 months from now, we're dismally upset with our ceiling people, right? This doesn't bind us really for a year, just tells them that we're planning on
As of this moment, this would be our.
just, since you have no way to evaluate them, 6 months from now, you're upset and you're upset.
Then, you know,
It
one
doesn't
of the.
wait till next January. Right, it doesn't wait till next January, just so you know, you're not binding yourself.
If I may, you know, one of the things that I think in regards to the architect is a great example. Even if we hadn't changed our architect, which again is neither here nor there, the idea of going through the RFP part of the presentations from these other firms, I think was a great exercise in understanding sort of our structure as a district. But also to make sure that, you know, we always see what's happening. We always want to do what's best, just because we've had somebody for 1 year or 10 years plus. I'm sure the auditor will give us those big blue books with all of the information in it that we have to read through. But, you know, I think it's really important to reevaluate, and I think based off the recommendation from the administration, and maybe our own experiences, that's something we should discuss or can discuss as we go forward. I'm sorry, John, I interrupted you.
I was so Mr. Duarte's moved and Mr. Cass has seconded. You can have further discussion.
The only other discussion point I have, just to make sure we're all aware, you mentioned that, you were mentioning about how the calendar changed, and it's trying to be, what is it, second and fourth Mondays, except when there are holidays, which happens, you're saying, and then you switched the December meeting to just, the month of December to be just one meeting, combined work session.
Yes.
Just like the summer meeting.
Yes.
So that's new for the board too.
Yes, and that's just, again, the way the calendar fell. We did have to make a change in September as well due to the issue with the holiday. So, in the summer, July and August meetings, where there's one work session meeting, those are on the third month. wait till the fourth Monday, we won't have a meeting for almost 6 weeks in July. So, I mean, these are things that, you know, I wanted to point out to everyone when we sent out the calendar. And it's as close as we could get, and we talked about this, to being the second and the fourth with holidays and other situations.
So I had a question about the September, actually, maybe you answered it, but maybe I'll ask Steve. Essentially, in September of this new coming school year, we won't have a voting session until the last Monday of the month, which is essentially the last, basically one of the last.
For
meetings.
hiring is
Is that going to be an issue? Yeah.
you could vote on the 21st.
But even the 21st might be late, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And is the 17th of August late enough?
The one thing I thought was, you know, John and I, we all thought was, this one was too fast. This year, we had a meeting, basically, what, the first day?
Yeah, it was, we had a late August meeting, I believe, so I'm not sure.
So I think the fact that you have an August 17th, and then you have, I guess, well, there's that holiday, we would have to do it a different day.
That's how Labor Day you're talking about?
No, because there's a holiday on the 14th, right, John?
Right.
Yes.
Rosh Hashanah on the
Yeah,
14th.
yes.
So that's why we moved it to the 21st. I wouldn't want to put it to the 7th.
So then would it make more sense to push the August meeting until a week later? I think Marianne just had a great point.
24th.
Hiring part.
Well, I was going to say, two things that I know we always worry about in the summer. Is it late enough for the bills list? And is the spacing right for hiring, since that's when we typically do quite a bit of hiring? And that's up to you guys.
Yeah, no, again, I was
You're
just
good.
trying to lay it out, with the calendar and be mindful of holidays and everything else, right?
Well, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I would say that, you know, obviously the efficient running of the district is number one in terms of these meetings. Secondly, would be what's going to work for the public to be able to attend these meetings. So does the district run well by having a middle August meeting and essentially a late September meeting?
No, I think if we wanted to make a change for that reason, having the August 17th meeting on August 24th would be not a bad idea. Or we could also, we could put an August 24th meeting and an August 17th. And have the August 24th meeting, it could just be a quick personnel meeting, like in other words, I have to
Have it as a tentative meeting, so.
tentative meeting just to appoint personnel. Because you also have to think about, other people don't want to quit their jobs until I give them a signed contract. So the 17th, I wouldn't want to abandon that.
No,
I understand about having the 14th. We might want to just add the 24th as a tentative, if needed, only personnel meeting.
Yeah. Well, these number of meetings where we have once a month is, I guess, more traditionally based off the fact that we have very little things going on, right? But again, I think more importantly, is it going to be effective for you?
I think if, like I can see this playing out, right? I hire somebody but it missed the 17th, I might have to call you guys together for a meeting. So if we want to put it on the calendar to hold the place, it might not be a bad idea. What do you guys think? And the 24th as a meeting.
Maybe a welcome in shorts and sandals.
It could be short, it could be something small.
And some people may not be here.
We could cancel it, can we cancel it? I would only need it for personnel.
To add meetings and cancel.
So maybe if we could get an amendment to add that second, I don't know, if Carlos, well, if someone wants to make the amendment first off, about adding that second meeting date, you would suggest what, the 24th, Steve?
Yes, I would.
So,
I'll request a friendly amendment if Mr. Duarte and Mr. Cass are inclined to accept it, to add an August 24th meeting to the calendar list.
Yes, that's fine.
Mr. Cass, are you also agreeable? To have it added as an amendment, Jim? Okay.
Yeah, we're usually way in August. I don't know. Whatever works, fine with me.
so the calendar would reflect a second date on August 24th.
Correct.
And I think something to, well, we got some public here as well, to make note of is that going forward, as of our next meeting in January, the meetings will be at Valley View for this year.
In the library, I believe, in the library.
In the media center at Valley View School. We will have signs posted at this door, and they will be posted on the website and also in the newspapers.
Plus there's air conditioning. Don't tell me in the summer you're not warm. It's terrible. So that would be the change to that calendar.
Yes.
Was there anything else in the calendar you want to discuss? Any other points before we move to roll call?
Okay, so roll call on items 1 through 10 on item B. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Capello?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes?
Mr. Cass? Yes. Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Now, we have a point to move to public discussion, okay? Now, 8:25, Verizon back. So those in public, please step up to the mic. Please mention your name and address. Please.
Are you opening it to any teacher made to the district or actually?
So it has to be at this moment, it has to be in regards to anything that's on the agenda at the moment. Otherwise, we can wait till the end.
Okay, I have a question.
I think we can go ahead. Okay.
I'm Kim Liver, I live at 9 Monmouth. I have a very quick question about fingerprinting. I know there's been a lot of things back and forth with the procedures and whatnot, but the latest one is that it's $76, it's all refunded, but it's for your lifetime.
Correct.
At what point, or not at what point, how do we go about at the point where our children are no longer in the school? Do we get our fingerprinting out of that system?
Nothing happens, you're just no longer on our list, so you're no longer part of our system. That's the
So are they
state will still have
sending
to.
you stuff?
No, I mean, once you're no longer our approved volunteer, you
Okay.
basically sever ties with you.
Okay, so that's just like an automatic thing that happens, you don't have to do, like, I wouldn't have to do anything in, whatever, 14 years with my son, it's fine. It's not- it's different.
Exactly, like, once you've moved on and you're no longer volunteers, you won't be on the list of volunteers that get approved. So,
Oh, okay.
we no longer track what you're doing.
So, and I could be wrong, just from my experience, when there's a situation for background, for fingerprinting, that sort of thing, districts, through its automated system, will put a regular sort of blast out to say, these are our volunteers, what do you know about them, right?
Okay.
You would no longer be on that list if you were no longer volunteering within the district. At that point, we would never get any more information on you.
I've never had, I've done a bunch of fingerprinting, teaching and volunteering and coaching and whatnot, but it's always, temporary, here's 1 year, here's 3 years, so I wasn't sure what the difference was.
This is the same one that public school teachers do.
And board members.
Board members, everybody in public education. So there are many other ways to get fingerprinted. This is the one for public schools.
And then a follow-up question then, because I'm still trying to understand, there's so many emails and things that changed with everything that came out. It's only if you're in the school 5 times or more if you're volunteering?
So the definition in what requires you to have your fingerprints done is you have to be a regular volunteer in our schools. So we had our attorney define what regular volunteer was because there was a lot of questions about that. The regular volunteer was a regularly scheduled person that will be in the school on a scheduled basis at least 5 times throughout the year. So in other words, if you just come 5 times to do something, you're not scheduled. So you came and read to the kindergarten because you talked to the teacher and you came in the next day. That's not like a regularly scheduled basis. You have to be saying, I'm going to serve lunch at Riverview at least 5 Mondays. That would be a regularly
So
scheduled.
then the group moms that are in the classroom with the door closed with the kids and taking these same children to the bathroom on field trips are not falling into that fingerprinting category, which is a concern of mine.
Right now, the way the
I don't know
policy,
anything about those people.
so right now, the way the policy and the law reads is that those aren't considered volunteers. Now, that's something that the legislature could change. We could change the policy. Well, this is a big undertaking right now. We're taking on 200 plus people in unbudgeted funds at $76 each. So it's an important thing. So we could tighten it up, But at this particular time, where we've never done it before, and we're gonna all of a sudden do 200, I follow the policy and the law by the letter, with the advice of our attorney too.
Right.
But I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, he had to be a square practice tonight, but both of us were wondering how that came about, because, like I said, we weren't at the meetings before, we had other stuff going on. And it just seemed a little strong. I'm in the library every day 3 and day 4, so I'm scheduled, but one of our room moms in the room with me is only there for room mom, so she's not, but she's in there, she's going on field trips, she's taking kids to the bathroom, and not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with her, she's a wonderful person, but
I think that,
it's concerning, because there's a...
I think I'll tell you as a board member, certainly as a parent, what you're saying is valid, right? I mean, there's always a concern about whomever is around their kids, right? And I think in a perfect world, we'd probably do everything we could to make sure that there was some sort of background that every person who walked through that door.
Even with the background check, remember, that's only if they didn't call, right?
That's true.
And so in a perfect world,
As scary as that is.
as much as we try to do everything we can, and I know Steve is very, very vigilant with trying to make sure that we're as safe a district as possible. There's probably going to be areas where we can improve on it, tighten, like he's suggesting. And that's something that certainly will take under advisement, and certainly bringing up is great. That's something I'm sure Steve will do. Thanks. Any other comments from the public? 8:31, if we can close public comments. No, we do have one personnel action item. Mariana, do you mind moving that?
No, I'd be happy to. I will move to approve the contract extension for Erin Selby as a lead replacement speech therapist for 2 days per week until the position is filled, effective January 6th, at the prorated salary listed on the agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs.
Steve, can you give us a little bit of background on this?
This is a person who works for us currently, and we're having personnel difficulties in the area of speech therapy due to a couple resignations and maternities and back and forth. So we were able to ask this person who works for us currently to stay on. Her contract ended on the 31st of December, and because we're having these difficulties, we pretty much pleaded with her to stay on. And she's agreed to do this on a temporary basis, 2 days a week, which will hopefully help us not fall as far behind as we have been. So that's why I pushed for it for tonight. Normally I wouldn't want this on here, but her contract expired. I asked her not to start working again until tomorrow. So I had to put it on here for you. You're the only people who can hire people. So that's what this is for.
Any other comments, questions?
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Capello?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Napoli?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mr. Duarte?
Yes.
So I'm not sure we have any committee meetings yet, or committee minutes or comments yet in terms of instruction and program. Unless Steve would add anything since our last meeting. Policy, operations, any of these areas.
I have some statements for when you have superintendent comments.
Maybe we'll get there. Finance, I'm sure we are on our way in terms of preparing a budget.
Yes, we are.
Can you give us maybe a rough outline on when you think we might have a preliminary draft budget for the board?
I'm hopeful to have a draft budget to the entire board in February and to the finance committee prior to that. So once the committee is set, I would hope to have maybe next 2 to 3 weeks have an idea of where we stand regarding the budget, present it to the finance committee, then roll out a preliminary budget to the board in February.
I think in our last meeting we talked about waiting some information from the town. Are we there yet? Maybe some.
Well, the ratables won't be available officially until I believe it's January 31st. It has to be certified by then. We did reach out to the town, and they expected that the ratables to be pretty stable compared to previous years. So they were using a figure of plus or minus $3 million, which historically the last few years would be stabilizing.
We're talking about a gain of plus or minus $3 million.
Correct.
the email Steve in regards to the school board code of ethics. Oh, excuse me.
The code of ethics is required to be discussed annually and at a public meeting by the board. And reorganization is an excellent time to do that. The board has copies of the code of ethics, was distributed in the back, and we put a copy on the table just to make sure you had it. And if you want, we can read them aloud, or we can just have a discussion on them, so we can sign off on the minutes that they have been publicly discussed. I don't mind reading them all if you want, or you want to have a board member each read one, or
I am more than fine with your voice, John, when it comes to reading code of ethics, unless everyone wants to read on their own.
Okay. According to the New Jersey statute, the school board member shall abide by the following code of ethics. A, I will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the state of the Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures. I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of the children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing. I will confine my board action to policy making, planning, and appraisal, and I will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them. I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are well run. I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board. I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups or to use the schools for personal gain or the gain of friends. I will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, I will provide accurate information and in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for a school. I will vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer. I will support and protect school personnel on the performance of their duties, and I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer and will act on the complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution. So these are the ethics that all board members have to uphold. I will return to the board president once asked. Any other comments? And we'll have everybody sign off on the pass sheet around. Have everybody sign off.
I think you used the word proper performance and I, but
Thank you.
I think it's going to go around with everyone's signature. As we do that, we'll move on to the superintendent's remarks.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
I have one other, but it can go. I just wanted to remind the board, I know you all received an email that the Morris County School Board Association meeting is January 29th. It is something you do register for, and all you see on the list that Mr. Navarone will be appointing the liaison to that. It doesn't preclude any of us. We can all show up if we want to. So you don't have to be the liaison to go. So consider it, and I believe the topic's about finance. So think about it, look at your schedule, and when the registration comes out, that's something we can register for ourselves.
Just a few comments. One thing is, I look forward to working with this new board and to move the district forward. I feel like we're all on the same page here, and we all want to do what's best for the town and for the students. I would like to highlight that our next meetings will be at Valley View Middle School, and that the new Board of Education members, you will begin tomorrow to have access to my shared folder, which you take time to look through some of the old ones if you'd like, and shoot me some questions if you have any questions about any of the things that are in there. We will also have you added to the website for your contact information, and will be added to the distribution group for the Board of Education members. And then also every Friday you'll receive a pretty long, right, would you say, report from me, but the way I put it together is a lot of attachments, but there's a page report that explains all the attachments. So if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to email me a question or give me a call. The report usually comes on Fridays, but sometimes I need to finish it or do something and it comes out on Saturday, but you'll have it on the weekend. I also like to acknowledge that we do have Cindy Costanza in the back as our new technology manager, and that we will be videoing our meetings as per policy, and our meetings will be posted on our district YouTube site, so if anybody doesn't get a chance to see one of our meetings and like to see it, it will be on the district homepage. It says DPS YouTube channel. Please feel free to go on there. And I'd also like to thank Mike from the Neighbor News, who's been coming to our meetings and reporting on them in the Neighbor News. I think it's important that we get our message out and show the public that we are all here to do the right thing and move this district forward. That being said, especially with the two new people, these are going to be challenging times for this board and for me and for John and for the administration as a whole. We have a few big issues. One is we have an abandoned Board of Education offices that's been dormant for 4.5 years, but we have made some progress. As I shared with you a while back, we never emptied out our documents. So our documents are now removed. All sensitive documents that were required to be shredded have been shredded. So anything that was there that was things that we needed to save have been moved to a new storage site at 400 bars below my office. Anything that was sensitive to be shredded was shredded, and all the other items have been discarded. The only things in there now is garbage, meaning like a filing cabinet that's broken or things like that we didn't remove, and some mold and stuff like that. So, yeah. So I think this is an important topic that we need to keep at the forefront, because I think we can't pretend that it's okay, and we have to come up with a solution. So that's one very trying and important thing we're going to have to conquer here. I'm not saying that we can't, I'm just saying it's going to be challenging. The next thing is we have trailers at all 3 schools that have an intended lifespan of 7 years, and they're now on the 12-year mark. So I think that we need to have a solution for the trailers. We also are going to have a tough budget cycle this time. It's going to be trying for this board to come up with something that will let us move forward, because we do talk a lot about moving forward. I would say that we say we want to move forward and do the right thing all the time. But this budget's going to be a challenge. And there are some things that we're going to need in that budget to do some of these things that we're talking about. So remember, no matter what, the district, the taxpayers of this town, and the public of this town are responsible for these buildings. And they're responsible for the upkeep and the management and all the other things that go along with these buildings. So some way or another, we have to pay for this stuff. Whatever that way is, but it's not going to just happen. The state is not going to give a district like Denville money to fix our buildings. It's not going to just change tomorrow. So we need to be ready for that. Technology. Technology is not where you thought it was. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And I don't want to be that person. I'm always going to tell you that it's a problem, but it's not that there's a problem with no solution. There is a problem, and there's a solution, and we're working on it. So right now, what we're working on is correcting the problem for the short term. Be able to administer park, because I know you were all told that you were ready to administer park. And I know, because I've been in the business for a long time, that I thought that was going to be a stretch. To add 500 devices to a system that wasn't designed for it is a stretch. When I know it was reported to you that they did a test with 620 devices and it was not a problem, when in actuality it was a test with 120 devices and there was a problem. So again, I'm bringing you the problem, but I'm also telling you there's a solution. These are important and trying things. So we have to do all of this stuff, all while raising the bar, because one of our goals is to raise the bar here and to really go from good to great. So all that being said, one of the steps that's coming up is our Parent Academy for Student Success. I want to say the whole name instead of saying PASS, because PASS just sounds like a cute name. Parent Academy for Student Success tells what it is. It teaches parents about how can we make students more successful in our school district, and it informs them. And our first one is this Wednesday. We've put out a couple reminders. We're asking for some RSVPs. We really want to make this thing a big deal. We want to inform the public of what's going on so that everybody can make these informed decisions. We have a series of them beginning this month on Wednesday at 6:30 in this room that will start. We will be able to video the first part and post it on our website, but the other pieces are spread around the building, and I don't have 4 cameras, so we're going to do just the part that's in here. And we will post this online so you can see it. Hopefully it'll drum up support for the next one. So the first one is on the Common Core, and explaining what Common Core is and the myths and all the other stuff that's out there about it. So please try to attend these. And again, I have a lot of faith in everybody here. I think this is a great board. I think we've really built a great team here. And we're going to come up with the solutions, but we have to understand that these are going to be difficult and it's going to be a lot of work. But we're ready to go. I'm ready to go. I know you guys are too. So that's it. I'm off my soapbox now.
Hey, Steve, real quick, can we get, and I don't know how the board feels about this, I know, especially with my board office, we've been talking about this for years at this point. And, I think one of the things that we don't have is, a timeline, right? We don't have a goal, and maybe the goal of figuring out that a solution is not a good enough goal. But maybe, we can, as a board, or maybe you can help us by setting some timelines, by the second, our work session or second meeting in February, you might have some options for us. And by our second meeting in April, we might have some public meetings where we can start discussing it. Maybe by our second meeting in June, we can vote on what the solutions are. This way, by the end of the school year, we've decided on something. I mean, does that sound like it may work within what we want to try and do? I mean, I hate the idea of saying we're going to do something, but never actually have a plan to try to get there.
Well, I think you stole everything that I was going to say.
Well, too bad.
Because
you missed the superintendent's comments.
a bunch of you guys, right? I've said this to a bunch of you, and I've said it publicly. I know I said it to the 2 new guys, that we cannot go into 7/1/15 without a plan. So your solution of having a decision by the second board meeting in June is exactly what I'm talking about. So I will have here. So here's step 1. Step 1 for us. I don't need to trivialize it. We've done a lot of other steps. But step 1 for me, after emptying that building and all that, is to let's get it on every single agenda of the board. Let's put it on every agenda as a discussion item. Let's put it out to the public so it's on the website. The public knows that a discussion will take place regarding this board, the board office. And I think the trailers. I think that we have to have a decision on both of these. So I think step 1 will be that. And as we do this, we're going to inform the new committee. And we're going to discuss this with the committee and come up with some options of what we're going to do. And I think all the stuff you said is exactly what I envisioned.
So, I mean, then, if the board is sort of on favor, maybe we can have sort of that timeline by our second meeting in, I don't have the calendar in front of me now, by maybe sort of poll, let's say, by the June 22nd regular meeting, that we would have had some options presented to the board, some public opportunity to vet, evaluate, and comment on those evaluations, for the board to do the same, and to hopefully have a vote by that date to make a decision on what the next steps going to be for the board office.
So,
Is that fair?
I think it's good, but then we have to also realize that we need budget. So it might be in 2 phases, I guess.
Are you going to say they can't?
I'm not going to say I can't deliver it, but I will say that making a decision in June without the money to back it, unless it's a decision for the following year.
It has to be forever. Whatever the timeline is, though, I want to be able to, at least as 1 of 7, be able to say, but we've made a decision, and this is what we're going to do. This may be when it's going to happen, but this is what we're going to do.
Good.
And I think that, again, I'm 1 of 7, I'd love to be able to get the input from the others, or at least a head nod, that by that meeting, we've done all the background, we've done our jobs, and we've come up with a decision on what's going to happen. I don't know, we can start that Mike?
No, Mr. Forte and I have talked about this quite a bit, and I'm fully in support of coming up with a plan and executing it at this point. I mean, I know I've sat out there and seen it as a goal for the board that didn't really get discussed in public too much, so I think putting it in public is very important, and getting feedback from people, anybody who wants to come and talk about it, maybe even having some sort of special meeting or having it very publicly broadcast at a certain time. We're really going to have a serious discussion about it as to the options and what we're going to do, because I think it's important for everybody to understand what we're doing out there, and especially with the town and everybody involved. So it's obviously an important building. I don't want to just trivialize that. I know there's some historical facts behind it, and having some input on that end, but understand there's also a financial end to it, and there's the reality of what we can do with that asset and that property for us is all important facts we need to take into account, so I'm excited and ready to kind of move forward with that.
June 22nd, you're okay with that date?
What's that?
You're okay with June 22nd?
Absolutely, yep.
Well, yeah, there's a risk of doing nothing too, because of the abandoned thing, terrible source spot. The other thing, well, the timing of it, the budget cycle, I think one year we did budget 60 grand to demolish it, and that was before we vetted it with the various groups. So, but if you are thinking that there has to be budget tied to the house, that has to come before.
Well, no, I agree, and I want to make something clear that, and this is my, again, 1 of 7, one opinion, right? On June 22nd, I didn't want to say we're doing it on this date. I want to say what we're going to be doing. And it may be 1 year out, maybe 6 months out, maybe 3 years out. I don't know what the answer is. But I think we need to have a solution. And the solution needs to say to the public and to the town, this is what's going to happen to this building in the future. And maybe it's going to take us a few years to build up the budget to be able to do it. Maybe we won't have that. Maybe there'll be, the historical committee or society will come out and say we can buy it. I don't know what the answer is, but I want to be able to say to the public at this point, 4.5 years is enough. We have a solution. This is what we've talked about. This is what we've vetted. This is what we've evaluated, and this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to vote on.
And one more quick comment, I know there's a lot to be done there with, just some environmental concerns and everything, so I think the reality of trying to get it, anything quote-unquote done this year with the building so that it's finished and the property, whatever we're gonna do with it, I think that's probably a pie in the sky. I don't think we're gonna get it done this year, but at least if we have a plan, we know where we're gonna head, what we wanna do, and how we're gonna get there. That's most important to me.
I think we need to have an answer.
Yeah, no, I,
Oh,
I was just gonna say, what was the lease term for the office the next year?
3 years with a 6-month early termination, so the earliest possible time we could get out would be, what? We would have to tell them, not next Christmas, is it? No, the year after that.
Yeah, I think it's probably around, a year and a half.
We would have to tell them July of 2016 that we're out December 2016.
Well, we're only like 4 months in or 5 months in.
Yeah, we only started 2nd.
Yeah, that's right.
July 1.
You know,
no, that's right. No, I'm all for the June 22nd date to have a decision, and I like the idea very much of keeping it on the agenda, and let's keep talking about it all the time until we start making progress.
All for June 22nd decision, and to clarify exactly what everybody's saying, we'll make the decision, and then we'll have to plan and budget for it accordingly.
let's have an answer.
Oh, let's please have an answer, because I have to drive past it every day.
Yeah, I'd like to see it January 22nd, I think. Yeah, but just in case anybody forgot, we had carried demolition costs in the budget every year to knock down the building because,
I'm not sure they're still in the budget.
It was out last
it
year.
was out last year, okay, well, we need to put it back in there, even though insurance would cover a fire or a windstorm knockdown. But the,
You suggested.
So in the boiler room, it should have.
yeah, but just, I've been involved with that historically, so it's,
No, in
a
historical.
lot of neighbors complain it's an eyesore, and the architect had
Not just
like $1 million price tag to renovate the building. The square footage of the building's not adequate. It's just it's a disaster. The Historic Society's been in here a couple of times, and they've also sent letters. They don't have money to refurbish it and feel we should be responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the building. It's one of those, it's a difficult decision where you're going to have some people very happy, whatever the outcome is, but
I think that's the key. We've had a lot of meetings and a lot of
there's
information.
a lot of discussion, yeah.
For, Mr. Forte and Mr. DiPaolo to pull together all the information, whatever new information we need, and then,
Yeah.
as Mr. Napoli was saying, we have to make a decision and then withstand the firestorm, because we will not, no matter what the decision is, half of everyone will be upset.
I have faith, and I think we talked about this, as long as we're transparent about it,
Yeah.
we talk about it, we get it out there. Can't come back and say we never did any of this.
Right, I agree completely.
Carlos?
No, I echo what everybody else was saying, what gets measured gets done. If we should do this with everything. There should be timelines and dates that we keep to, and if things are going to slip, Like, when we were doing the full day kindergarten, time when we slipped in construction, or when the budget slipped, we came right out and we said it. We just need to make sure we carry that through and not change.
Good. So you got your marching orders from the board. Regards to last meeting.
I'm the one who gave you guys the marching orders.
I don't think you said anything about June 22nd.
I bet you, everybody's heard, right? July 1, you better have a decision, right?
We had it on YouTube, it wasn't on the public.
That's right.
Now we will open up to public comments at 8:55. This will be for anything in regards to the district. So you have to come up to the podium, sign in, state your name and address, please, and then have at it. Thank you. Your name and address, I'm sorry. Your name and address?
Kevin Stokes, 12 Magnolia Avenue, Denville. The only reason I'm up here is to, for those of you who do not know me, I am the new council liaison.
Okay. Well, thank you. I know we've had some good experiences in the past with our former, so we look forward to seeing you at our meetings now. Thank you.
Make sure you dress nice, because you choose.
Any other? Perfect.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Wells, 22 Wall Street. One of the things I wanted to bring up, or at least lay out to you guys as a board, that it just doesn't get kind of shoved under the rug, is we talked briefly about the park testing. I don't know where that's going. You said that there was some difficulties with some of the technology when they did the testing last year. It was brought to my attention that they actually had a wonderful experience with the testing last year, and that they were going to be fine moving forward with it. And one of the things that I have a huge, not a problem with, but and I had sent an email out, so you kind of know what it's about, but there is timelines and stuff for accommodations and things to be done for the testing, for special needs and for kids that need it. Some of which there is like a 6-week turnaround time for some of the forms that need to get sent in. It's very sketchy, like I've read through the documents multiple times as far as, who makes the decisions and what have you, but it folds back onto like IEPs and private boards, committee ones, and there's 2 months. And, personally, I have an idea there that nobody's come to me and addressed it.
There's no testing accommodations in the IEP now?
Well, for state testing, but what I was told specifically regarding park is that that doesn't stand or hold up, that it has to be physically written in there for park.
Okay, well, you know what the best thing is for me to reach out to you tomorrow?
That's fine. No, it's just, and further reading, and I have information with me, just regarding the review of some of the material. And I know that you're setting up the, academy for parents and all that, and getting more information, which is fantastic, and I'm hoping to be there. But regarding the actual testing itself, with only 8 weeks left, because we're hitting, we're in January already.
Right.
And first test is in March. There are specific
Accommodations, you mean? that we-
no, not just the accommodations, but there are specific papers that need to be signed off on by the committee, by the IEP, addendums, or appendixes in the park system or what have you. It's all online. But one of them specifically, has a 6-week turnaround time that that it has to be in 6 weeks prior to the testing. And none of this has been addressed publicly to any of the special ed parents, well, me in particular, but just in general to everybody. So I just wanted to put it out there and let you know that there's stuff that needs to be addressed, and I don't know how it's being addressed, or if they're just taking everything from the IEPs or 5 course and going forward with it from there. But from what I was told, that's not the case. And that with the park, they need to specifically have it stated in there and restated for the park, and that old things that were signed off on these meetings for state testing is not the same.
Well, I will definitely make sure that we look into that and get back to you tomorrow. But some of this stuff you're saying, the entire state, all this information is due to the state on their website by January 16th. So we are working on compiling this information. I don't know the answer to your question, so I will definitely get back to you tomorrow, or have someone from the curriculum department get back to you.
I mean, there's a whole, I was gonna print out the whole thing, but there's a accessibility features and accommodation manual that's like 60-something pages.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, that's one. But it's very vague, and like you stated with a lot of the other things, where it doesn't go into specifics on who needs to be part of or what have you. I just don't know, is the school taking for granted the existing IEPs and 504s and letting them go through as is and just rolling it over into the park? But from what I was told, that's not acceptable to the park standards of the new way of testing. So,
I definitely will get back to you tomorrow.
So I guess that's 2 parts, right? One's your specific situation, which Steve was talking about. Then the second part would be if IEPs of current students would transfer. Do you know that information?
I don't know that. I don't know that, if that's the case. If it is the case that what you're saying is correct, and we haven't done it, it's going to be difficult.
well, I mean, just in one school alone, I don't know how many IEPs or 504s there are existing just in Riverview, but then you got Valley View and Lakeview, and multiple people who I've talked to, they said they didn't even know that there was accommodation issues or that new paperwork or documentation had to sign off. And there is, for instance, just specifically, Appendix D, which is text to, when you're reading on the computer, to being able to get the audio for it, so that people who have issues or what have you, that needs to be signed off on their IEP for your school group and parent signature. I mean, that hasn't been brought up, and I personally have, like, anything at the end of the year, so, it's usually scheduled at the end of the year, but nothing was brought up at the end of last year. I even called a meeting at the beginning of the year for other issues, but nothing was ever brought up.
I think you can file a lot of this under the category of what the state hasn't necessarily told us, right? Or we don't know.
No, I mean, it's some of the
Right.
information literally
Certainly.
was just put out in December. There was some new documentation that's put up on the website. I've just been following it a little bit more closely because I'm a little bit closer to it now, so, and it's coming up, so I just wanted to put that up for the board and
Sure.
We will definitely get back to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I did want to thank the town representatives for coming. We'll be at your reorganization tomorrow night. We appointed as something for safety. That'll be fun. Thank you.
Can I get public comment? I'll close the public comment section at 9:03 and open for board comments.
I've got a quick comment, just about the fingerprinting and the security. I appreciate you bringing it up. I think that I've sat out there and heard for the last year, a lot of these things have changed. The check-in at the front offices, this fingerprinting that never was done before, that has been there. So, and I know we've taken a lot of money out of unbudgeted to spend for several $1,000s. But, we're always looking for ways to get better. So it's certainly something we should look at, and I appreciate you bringing it up. I think the district's heading in the right direction for security, but we always need to get better. So I appreciate you bringing those things up. And second of all, to make a comment that I'm very excited about this year. I thank everybody for kind of being here on the board and supporting the kids and the students in Denville. So I'm looking forward to a great year.
Any other on that side? I do want to make one quick board comment. and I'm going to throw this out this more as a discussion item. I don't like the idea that we have public comments at the end of the meeting for things that are not on the agenda, things that we discussed at the beginning. I think what it does is forces somebody to have to sit through a lot of meeting agenda stuff that maybe they didn't want to sit through just to say they like the way we're doing running the district. And I'm wondering what the appetite is of the board to allow the public comments to include not just agenda items in the beginning of the meeting, but also anything that they feel relevant to discussing. We would have obviously certain level of discretion, but give them the opportunity to discuss what they want to discuss. I don't know, any comments or thoughts from the rest of the board?
I think it's a good idea. I just think that if you have a topic of controversy, you're going to have maybe, 15 or 20 people want to weigh in. You have to do what they do with the town council meetings and put a time on it. Let them have, let everybody have their say, but, there's a lot of times you don't get, we're pretty early tonight, getting towards the end of the agenda, but, I think somebody must stay till 10:30 or 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, to wait to make a comment that they feel is important. So I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a good idea.
For the record, and I believe our bylaw is sitting over there, is it right now, tonight?
Yes.
We do have a time limit in our bylaw right now.
I think it's 3 minutes.
I believe so. And I don't know if the board wants to change it or not. It's always informally been at the board president's discretion, and that's why, No, I mean, whether or not you open it up for things just on the agenda or to everything
Right.
in the beginning. And I think, in all of our time from the board, to the gentleman, we know that, just like you did tonight, you allow people to speak off agenda items.
Any other?
Yeah, I know Mike and I were sitting in the audience, several times that happened. I'm all for that. We don't worry about it as necessary.
So then, if I may, I'd like to, in the future, on the first part of the agenda where it talks about the public portion,
I'll say one last comment. I mean, I'm not sure you want to change it. It's up to your discretion. And this way, if you have people in that you're presenting things to and you want to make sure you get to them in a timely fashion, and then, I personally am about leaving it up to your discretion so it's
and
flexible.
we can leave that there, but I would let you know that unless there's a rare circumstance where, we have multiple presentations, we don't want to hold up some of those things, we should give the opportunity to the public to come and speak about what they want to speak about. And not have to sit until Tom put it out, 10:30, 11 o'clock, sometimes even later, to again, even say, debate's basically the way it's set up right now, to say, hey, you guys are doing a great job, you have to wait till the end of the meeting.
Can you just put those things at the front of the agenda before the public comments? Or if we have awards, just put them first on the agenda when it's time comes.
It is. They are first.
Then,
You're correct.
go ahead and continue to say we want to.
Oh, yes,
Remove that part that says agenda items only.
that's exactly what I want to get
And
at.
you can still get to the awards and people can speak out.
And we can change that in the future if we like, but I just want to make sure that people know that they can come and say, speak their piece, make their comments, just early in the meeting, say, I guess, during the public session. Thank you. So do we need a executive session, Steve?
Oh, only do that.
Don, you want to move us out?
I will move to close the meeting.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yay.
Any nays? The meeting is now closed at 9:09. Thank you. Thanks for coming out.